everyone. Welcome back to the English Speaking Show.
Hi, we're really happy you're here with us today.
If you're new, I'm Ella.
And I'm Jake.
On this channel, we help you practice real, everyday English. The kind people actually use when they talk about their lives, their feelings, and their thoughts.
We focus on clear, natural communication.
So if you want to feel more comfortable speaking English in real situations, you're in the right place.
And if you enjoy learning with us, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel.
It really helps us reach more English learners around the world.
All right, let's get started.
So Jake, before we jump in, how was your week?
It was okay, but honestly a bit stressful.
Oh, really? What happened?
I had something important coming up, and instead of relaxing, my brain just wouldn't stop.
Wouldn't stop?
Yeah, I kept thinking about it again and again.
That sounds tiring.
It was. I tried to watch a show, but I wasn't really watching. I was thinking. Then I tried to sleep. Same thing.
I know that feeling.
Really? You seem calm most of the time.
On the outside, maybe. Inside, my mind can get very busy too.
So it's not just me.
Not at all. You know, when you describe that feeling, it sounds very familiar.
Yeah, it's like my thoughts just keep going.
That's actually what we're talking about today.
Overthinking.
Something many of us deal with, more than we realize.
So Ella, what exactly is overthinking?
Overthinking is when you think too much about one thing.
Like when your mind won't let it go?
Yes, you keep thinking about it, even when nothing new happens.
But you're still thinking, so why is that a problem?
Because the thinking doesn't help anymore. It just goes in circles.
Oh, like a song stuck in your head?
Exactly. But instead of music, it's worries.
Okay, so thinking is normal, but circles are the problem.
That's overthinking.
So thinking itself is not bad, right?
Not really. Thinking itself can be helpful and necessary.
Helpful how?
Thinking helps you understand a problem and make a decision.
And overthinking?
That's when the thinking starts to cost you.
Cost you how?
Your energy, your calm, your sleep.
When I'm overthinking, my head feels very busy. But how can you really tell it's overthinking and not just normal thinking?
A lot of people notice the same kinds of signs.
Like what?
One common sign is replaying events. You think about the same moment again and again.
Yeah, conversations, emails, small mistakes.
Another sign is worrying about the future. You imagine problems that haven't happened yet.
And then decisions feel harder than they should.
Exactly. Even simple choices can feel stressful.
For me, it really shows up at night.
That's very common. Your body feels tired, but your mind keeps going.
So it's not just thinking, it's feeling worn out inside.
Yes, that mental tiredness is a strong sign of overthinking.
Why does overthinking even start? Why do our minds do this so often?
There are many reasons, and most of them are very human.
Like what?
One common cause is fear of making mistakes. We want to say the right thing and make the right choice.
So we keep thinking, hoping we won't mess it up.
Yes, past experiences matter too. If something went badly before, your brain remembers it.
It's like the mind saying, be careful.
Exactly. Stress is another big cause. When life feels busy or uncertain, the mind doesn't get much rest.
I notice it more when I'm already exhausted.
That's very common. Lack of sleep can make overthinking stronger.
And sometimes it's because we care too much.
Yes, overthinking often means something really matters to you.
But it really feels like once overthinking starts, it doesn't want to stop. Why is that?
Because overthinking usually works in a loop.
What kind of loop?
Let's take a simple example. Imagine you send a message to someone, and they don't reply.
Okay, that already feels familiar.
That's the trigger. Then your mind starts analyzing. Did I say something wrong?
And And then you start feeling worried or uneasy.
Yes. And those bad feelings make you think even more.
So the thinking creates the feeling, and the feeling creates more thinking.
Exactly. That's how the overthinking loop keeps going.
Right. It feels like overthinking can start from almost anything.
Yes, people overthink about many different parts of life.
Work is a big one for me.
Very common. People overthink emails, meetings, feedback, and small mistakes at work or school.
I also replay social situations a lot.
Social moments are huge. People think about what they said, how they sounded, or how others reacted.
And relationships make it even stronger.
Yes, messages, silence, tone, or short replies can trigger a lot of thinking.
Money and health worries do that as well.
Those worries are very common. And many people overthink the past, things they can't change, or worry about the future,
Even things completely outside our control.
especially those.
This really reminds me of a conversation I had with a friend recently.
What kind of conversation?
We were talking, and I made a small joke. My friend didn't laugh and just changed the topic.
And that stayed with you?
Yes. Later that day, I kept replaying it in my head. I wondered if it was awkward or if I said something wrong.
Even though nothing really happened.
Exactly. The moment was over, but my mind kept going.
For me, it often shows up with emails at work.
How so?
I send an email and then I reread it many times. I think about the tone, the words, even the punctuation.
And if there's no reply right away,
My mind fills in the silence with worries.
it's surprising how small moments can create so much thinking.
That's how overthinking often looks in real life.
So once you notice you're overthinking, what can you actually do?
There isn't one perfect solution, but there are many small things that can help.
Where do you start?
First, awareness. Just noticing, okay, I'm overthinking right now.
So instead of fighting it, you name it.
Yes, naming it gives you a little space.
But the thoughts come back. They tap on the door again.
That's normal. One helpful idea is a worry window.
A worry window?
You choose a short time each day, like 10 minutes, and you worry on purpose. When worries show up at other times, you tell yourself, not now, later.
So the worry has a place, but it doesn't take the whole day.
Exactly.
My head feels full when I overthink.
That's why writing helps many people. Put the thoughts on paper. What am I worried about? Then write one small next step, even if it's tiny.
Like unloading my brain.
Yes, a brain break.
What about distraction? Is that just avoiding the problem?
Not always. Healthy distraction can break the loop and give you a reset. For example, wash dishes, organize a drawer, listen to music, or call a friend.
Something simple that pulls you out of your head.
Exactly. And physical movement helps too.
Even a short walk?
Yes, walk, stretch, climb stairs, or do a few gentle moves. When your body moves, your mind often calms down.
What about mindfulness? People say that word a lot.
Mindfulness is coming back to right now. You notice what you can see, hear, and feel without judging it.
So my attention leaves the thoughts.
Yes, and breathing can help your body feel safe.
How?
Try a slow breath in and a slow breath out. If you can, make the out breath a little longer. Many people feel calmer after a few breaths.
I like the senses idea too, like 5 things I can see.
Exactly. That brings you back to the present.
And I've heard pets can help.
They really can. Petting a cat or dog, or even watching fish, can feel calming. Gentle routines like yoga can help too, because they calm the body.
And if none of this works right away,
Then be kind to yourself. Overthinking doesn't disappear in 1 minute. You can say, I'm having a hard moment, and do one small action. Drink water, stand up, or open a window.
small actions feel doable.
Yes, it's not about stopping thoughts forever. It's about giving your mind rest so the thoughts don't control you.
Sometimes it feels easier to keep overthinking to yourself.
Yes, but talking to someone you trust can really help.
Like a friend?
A friend, a family member, or anyone who listens without judging.
Just saying it out loud can feel lighter.
Exactly. And if overthinking starts to affect your daily life, it's okay to ask for professional help.
Like talking to a therapist?
Yes, therapy is normal, helpful, and nothing to be ashamed of.
Getting help is not weakness.
It's taking care of yourself. Now, let's look at some useful English phrases people use when they're overthinking.
So things you can actually say in real life.
Exactly. For example, I can't stop thinking about it.
That means the thought keeps coming back.
Another one is, I keep wondering if.
Like when you imagine different possibilities.
Yes, and this one is very common. My mind keeps going in circles.
Thinking, but not moving forward. When I overthink, I notice I'm doing a lot of thinking, but not much doing.
That's very common. Often, a small action helps more thinking.
What kind of action?
For example, if you're overthinking an email, send a simple version instead of rewriting it 10 times. If you're overthinking a task, set a 5-minute timer and just start. And if you're overthinking a conversation, write one short note about what you want to say, not the whole speech.
For me, standing up and changing rooms helps. Or taking a short walk, even around the house.
Exactly. Small actions interrupt overthinking and move you forward. A lot of people notice that when they overthink, they become very hard on themselves.
Yeah, that inner voice can be pretty harsh.
It often says things like, "Why did you do that?" or "You should know better."
I wouldn't talk to a friend like that.
Exactly. But many of us talk to ourselves that way without noticing.
And that just adds more pressure to the thinking.
Yes, overthinking plus self criticism is a heavy combination. That's why self compassion matters.
Self-compassion?
Yes, try speaking to yourself like a friend.
So what does self-compassion sound like?
It sounds simple. This is hard. I'm allowed to make mistakes.
More calm, less attack.
Exactly. Kind words don't stop thoughts, but they make them easier to carry. But remember, thinking is not a problem. In fact, thinking can be very helpful.
So, how do you know when thinking is healthy?
Healthy thinking has a purpose. You think about a problem, look at options, and then make a decision.
And after that, you can move on.
Exactly. The thinking leads to action or clarity.
And overthinking is different.
Yes, overthinking doesn't move forward. The same thoughts come back again and again.
No new answers, just more worry.
That's the key difference. Healthy thinking feels active. Overthinking feels stuck and heavy. For many people, overthinking gets much louder at night.
Yeah, the room is quiet, but my mind isn't.
That's very common. Nighttime removes distractions, so thoughts rush in.
I lie down, close my eyes, and suddenly everything comes back.
That's why a simple bedtime routine can help.
What kind of routine?
Doing the same calm things each night. Dimming lights, slowing down.
And the phone doesn't help.
Usually not. Scrolling can wake the brain instead of calming it.
I've tried writing things down before bed.
That helps many people. Write your worries on paper, then tell yourself, I've saved this for tomorrow.
So my mind doesn't have to hold everything.
Exactly. Some people also use gentle sounds.
Like music?
Soft music, rain sounds, or a quiet fan. Something steady and boring.
Boring is good at night.
Very good. Counting can help too.
Counting breaths?
Yes. Or counting slowly in your head. If your mind wanders, you gently start again.
And if none of that works?
If you're wide awake, it's okay to get out of bed. Sit somewhere calm, do something quiet, then try again.
So the goal isn't forcing sleep.
Right. It's creating the right conditions for rest. Now let's look at a few simple exercises people use when overthinking feels strong.
So things you can actually try, not just think about.
Exactly. The first one is called the 5-4-3-2-1 exercise.
I've heard of that, but I forget how it works.
You gently bring your attention to the present moment. First, name 5 things you can see around you.
Okay. I can see the table, the chair, the window, the light, and my hands.
Good. Next, name 4 things you can feel.
I can feel my feet on the floor, the chair under me, my clothes on my skin, and my breath.
Exactly. Then, name 3 things you can hear.
I hear a fan, a car outside, and my own breathing.
After that, 2 things you can smell.
I smell coffee and clean air.
And finally, 1 thing you can taste or enjoy in your mouth.
Mint from my gum.
That's the idea. It pulls you out of your head.
What about the worry jar?
That one is very simple. When a worry shows up, you write it down and put it in a jar or a note on your phone.
So the worry is saved somewhere else.
Yes, you're telling your mind, I won't forget this, but I don't need to think about it right now.
That feels relieving.
The last one is called worst, best, and most likely.
How does that help?
You write the worst thing that could happen, then the best thing, and finally, the most likely outcome.
Usually the most likely one is much calmer.
Exactly. These exercises don't remove thoughts, but they give you balance. You know, overthinking doesn't only affect the person thinking, it also affects the people around them.
Yeah, sometimes a friend tells you they're stuck in their head and you don't know what to say.
A helpful first step is simply listening.
So, not trying to fix it right away?
Exactly. You can say things like, I'm here, or that sounds really hard.
That already feels supportive.
It also helps to avoid certain phrases.
Like what?
Things like, just stop thinking, or you're overreacting.
Because that makes the person feel worse.
Yes, supportive language sounds more like, you're not alone, or do you want to talk about it?
Sometimes just feeling understood is enough.
Often it is. There's one more helpful idea when it comes to overthinking. It's something people often call thinking traps.
Thinking traps?
Yes, these are common ways the mind tricks us into worrying more.
So the thoughts feel real, but they're not always true.
Exactly. One common trap is catastrophizing.
That sounds serious.
It's when you imagine the worst possible outcome. A small mistake suddenly feels like a disaster.
Like thinking, this will ruin everything.
Yes. Another trap is mind reading.
That's when you think you know what others are thinking?
Exactly. You assume someone is upset or judging you without real proof.
That happens a lot in social situations.
It does. There's also black and white thinking.
Everything is either good or bad.
Yes, no middle ground. Then there are should statements.
Like, I should always know what to say.
Exactly. And finally, personalization.
What's that?
It's when you blame yourself for things that aren't really about you.
So when I notice one of these traps, what should I do?
You don't need to fight the thought, just notice it and name it.
Like saying, this is a thinking trap.
Exactly. That small pause can reduce the power of the thought.
It creates space between me and the worry.
And that space often brings relief. Now let's review some important vocabulary from today's episode.
We'll say the words together.
Our first word is overthinking. It's a noun.
Overthinking.
Overthinking means thinking too much about something.
Example, I'm tired because of overthinking.
Next word, worry. It can be a noun or a verb.
Worry.
Worry means thinking about possible problems.
Example, I worry about my work.
Next word, calm. It can be an adjective or a verb.
Calm.
Calm means relaxed and not anxious.
Example, I feel calm after talking to a friend.
Next word, stuck. It's an adjective.
Stuck.
Stuck means unable to move forward.
Example, I feel stuck in my thoughts.
Last word, loop. It's a noun.
Loop.
A loop is something that repeats again and again.
Example, overthinking can feel like a loop.
Before we finish, we have a question for you.
What do you overthink about the most?
You can keep it simple. You can start your comment with, I overthink about.
Work, conversations, the future, anything.
You might see someone else's comment and think, oh, it's not just me.
That's how community starts.
So share if you feel comfortable. We read your comments and we're glad you're here. Today we talked about overthinking, what it is, why it happens, and how it shows up in everyday life.
We also shared ways to slow it down, especially when your mind feels stuck.
Remember, overthinking doesn't mean there's something wrong with you.
It usually means you care.
Small steps, kind words, and simple actions can make a real difference.
You don't have to fix everything today.
Be patient with yourself.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
We'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye!